Hello, everyone. This is the Nameless One,
And I'm Moon.
and today we are going to be talking about monetization in games. Before we get started, I would like to remind everybody: don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. It'll help you keep up to date with all the shenanigans that I do, as well as any interesting subjects we talk about. Before we get started, just to let you guys know why we are qualified to talk about what we're talking about. I've been studying and playing games for at least a decade now at this point, probably two. And for Moon, you want to tell them why you're qualified?
I have about 13 years of experience making small micro games and indie games, along with currently attending university on a career path to become a full-time game developer.
So yeah, those are our, I guess, credentials. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started with let's just jump straight into it, and I'm gonna kind of section this off a little. So there's what I consider three main types of monetization you see in games. Now, most people, what they think of is microtransactions and battle passes and stuff like that, the extra stuff. But monetization in games will also include the price of the game itself and any kind of and this is probably more of an MMO thing, but subscriptions that are required to play said game. And we're going to start out with the basic cost, the upfront cost for any game. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And especially since for those of you that don't follow the gaming industry, there's a bit of a fight going on of consumer versus massive AAA company that doesn't need all the money in the world but wants it. So I don't know if you heard, Moon, but recently I heard on the grapevine that Xbox saw what Nintendo did with the $80 games and decided they were gonna do it too.
What fucking heresy is this?
So there are a lot of arguments for the pricing of games. Originally, I think they started around $30 to $40, probably a bit cheaper back in the Atari days. Until we got to a point where roughly about $60 was the standard price, and it stayed there for quite a while. The argument nowadays because a lot of industries, it started with the $70 price hike. So we went from $60 to $70, and for a lot of countries, a lot more of a price hike than that. And now they are wanting to go as high as $100. So their argument, and I'm sure Moon can agree with what a lot of the arguments have been for this, is that inflation is an issue and they gotta pay to make the physical copy that they don't usually have as many of nowadays because everybody uses digital except for a handful of very stubborn people. But they argue that games cost more to make more, so they gotta charge more.
I could understand that argument if the quality of games didn't feel like they've been decreasing over time.
Yeah. Now, here's the part where I actually go on the tirade that is my opinion on this and why this is bullshit. So, first things first, games have a lot more avenues of monetization. So, when you buy a game, you are buying a game, and then you are expected to buy the DLC, the extra cosmetic content, the battle pass, all of the little bit knickknacks that you can buy in the cash shop. If it's an MMO, some sort of subscription to allow you to play it in some cases. All of these things are either highly incentivized or outright required on top of the price of the game. Now, one of the big issues that the AAA industry has been running into is they spend $400 million on games like Concord only for it to crash and burn and die. And go, well, this is why we need a higher price. And as Moon mentioned, it's because those AAA games release buggy, unfinished, before they need to have released, because they build up this hype train and it just completely kills the entire like development process.
Their marketing games is a weird situation because marketing usually doesn't start until a game is close to a month, like not month, but like a year or two out after a very long development process. Like some of these games take a decade to make. And a lot of the times, these games are changed over and over again with different concepts and variations because they're still prototyping, trying to figure out, like, what do we make? What do we sell? But the problem is that because they're overhyping a product that they don't have yet, and they're not releasing a quality product when they do, like finally release the game, like asking for more money for something that is essentially degrading in quality over time, even just looking at games that were released in the past. Like this isn't even a rose-tinted glasses thing. This is you used to get like a full game, like no need for DLC or giant download for like $40.
And even
but like
I would point out, even in the modern age, there are studios that still release full games, and then when they do release a DLC, it's another full game.
So asking like $40 to $60, like that $20 jump, that's like what, 33% increase or something like that. Actually, that's like a 50% increase. That 50% more that they want for inflation. But then you don't get the same amount of game that you used to, like based off of when they said that adjustment should have occurred. They're essentially charging you more for less game.
They also want to raise the price even further from 60 to 70 to 80 to 100 for like the standard editions. So
I'm not going to touch that because I don't want to hurt your channel by giving my opinions on piracy.
Yeah, let's not encourage that. Just for legal reasons, we do not encourage piracy of
For legal reasons, I'm not encouraging piracy. But if you feel like a game's not worth it, don't buy it.
That's actually the best way to encourage them to not price games like that. Is if nobody buys their multi-million-dollar production, then they either learn or they go under.
You vote for your wallet, and the best way to say this is not okay is by not playing.
But with the advent of digital gaming came a particular pricing model known as the free-to-play. That's seems like an oxymoron if you think about it. It's like, but like, how do you make money with a game that's free? That's where the second type of monetization comes in, and that is the microtransaction. I will note, just as a slight aside, games like EVE Online and Star Citizen have very much macro transactions but they are still referred to as microtransactions. If something costs multiple thousands of dollars to buy, that is no longer a microtransaction by definition. But with the rise of the free to play game, that is about where we really started to see it cascade. But for those of you that have been following gaming history for a while now, some of you may remember, I believe it was Oblivion's horse armor.
Oh, the great floodgates.
Yeah. So, as somebody who has not only studied the history of the industry, but watched the industry grow alongside me, you will notice that they will want to do something, but nobody wants to be the first to do it, because the first person to do it is the one who gets the bitch slapped if nobody likes it. Check out all of the loot boxes that we no longer have because somebody got a little too sticky fingered with it. And by a little, I mean a lot. So, lots of regulation happened, and then that's how the gaming industry looks at it, Shadow. The games are, the AAA gaming industry, I should specify, looks at it as how much money can we squeeze out of the sentient wallet. Yes, EA did ruin the they ruined the loot box for everybody because they decided that they could make it worse. But EA makes everything worse, so there is no surprise there.
Yeah, every asshole game.
Yeah. Now, microtransactions have a variety of different applications. One of the most recent evolutions of that being the Battle Pass. You know, that optional thing where you buy and it supports the game, but you also get a bunch of skins and things like that are relatively, like, depending on the game, relatively decent value for what you're paying for. Now, I'll give you a couple of good examples of Battle Pass value. Believe it or not, everybody's favorite game to hate, Fortnite, is actually pretty decent value. It's about $10 to get all of their skins. They do have some that are less in value than others, but because of the way that they monetize theirs, they have their little subscription thing that gets you a bunch of different battle passes that get you all a bunch of different stuff. Even if you don't use it all necessarily, if you use even half of it, you've gotten your $11 a month back out of it. A more recent and much more interesting example to me is Marvel Rivals. So Marvel Rivals Battle Pass, about $10, and you get about 10 skins and all of the associated items for those skins. So that's roughly about $1 a skin if you want to price it that way. And then if you want to go even further with that, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's
What is it for?
yeah, I lost the word I was looking for. What I'm trying to say is a decent value. Now, an example of a lot less decent value, I don't remember the exact pricing for Overwatch's Battle Pass because, of course, Overwatch decided they needed to do it too because Activision. But it was between $10 to $20 for 5 skins. Now, these games are all free to play. They earn their money off of you buying those skins. They give no value outside of that to the player, other than saying, "Hey, I look cool." Which, for those of you who do not understand people who pay egregious amounts for microtransactions, that is the reason. Even somebody who is fairly tight walleted would be, if they play a game enough and enjoy it enough, will eventually go, one skin's fine. I've seen it happen time and time again. And then it is again. Yeah.
The highest barrier to a purchase is your first purchase.
And then it's easier to justify along the way because of a specific type of predatory monetization, which is something that I am acutely aware of when it comes to the monetization in gaming. So, how many, like, I'm saying this like people can raise their hands. I'm sure all of you have heard of the ever so infamous V-Buck. We're going to use that as our example here. So V-Bucks, you can get them in various sizes of packs. You can never just get, I want like $1.50 worth of them. No, it's like $1.99, 99 cents, like 5, 10, 15, 20, $25, all the way up to like, I think the highest you normally see in games is like $150 normally. We're not going to talk about mobile games because then it goes out the window and they go way overboard. But with the way that those money packs, the currency packs are priced, if you go and look at it and then go look in the shop, there is always just a little bit too much or just shy of enough for whatever it is you want to buy. I'm sure Moon's also noticed this in games and probably learned about it at some point as well.
It was praised in my business class and demonized in my game production class.
Yeah, so if you're mainly out to make money, essentially what it does is it's that, like, I have like 50 cents left in my wallet. But if I had another like $20, I could get this thing. And it makes it easier for it to kind of snowball in a psychological sense. It is terrible for making a good game, but it is good for a business decision. And it is also very much leaning into the idea of it's gambling addiction. It leans into that kind of same mentality. I forget the exact phrasing that I remember hearing it by. Do you have?
In my own words, it basically lowers the barrier to entry. Because instead of you just having to buy something and put all the currency in there in the first place, you have a little bit left over. You're like, I don't need the full amount, I just need a little bit. And then a little bit leaves you with a little bit more. But then you're like, I'm already most of the way to my next purchase.
Yeah, that is excuse me. That is exactly the problem that causes. And it leads to a lot of people getting sucked into this never-ending cycle of, I'm almost there, I can just buy a little bit and be good. And then because of the fact that the cost that you are paying is obfuscated, it never feels the same, I gotta spend $70 to get this, or I gotta spend $5 until I get to $70 worth of this currency to spend this. It's the way your brain connects it is not quite the same, and it hides how much you're actually spending. Did you have something you wanted to add, Moon?
It's like cocaine for poor life decisions.
Honestly, that's not inaccurate.
If you look at the price tag as the, I don't know, amount of damage that needs to be done to you, and then whatever you have in your wallet just makes you that much easier to kill.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna move on a little bit because we'll circle back around to some more monetization, predatory monetization practices. But I do want to, on the price of games, I almost forgot to mention the oh so infamous $50 to $50 to $150 extra deluxe editions. Ooh, Moon, you remember Fallout 76's release, right? And their deluxe editions.
I wish I didn't.
You know that speaks volumes because that's most of the people who bought it. So, for those of you that don't know, which I doubt there are many of you that don't, but games release with multiple editions. You'll have your standard edition where it's just the game. Then you have your like deluxe online edition or whatever, where it's got like, or digital deluxe edition where it's got like an extra thing that you get, or in some cases you'll actually get some like extra game content where you spend a little bit more, and then you get into the crazy ones where there's like 5 tiers up and you can get like, I think the craziest thing I think I've seen was a car. Somebody just straight up got a car with their game.
What the hell?
Yeah, there are some insane. I can't remember. There was another game that released. I think it was the. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was basically like what everybody believes the Catholics do in Crusades, but like a roguelike and Souls-like at the same time, in 2D. But there was the developer, like there was like 5 of the highest tier of deluxe editions that it had a vial of his blood in it. I don't know why, but like they decided yeah, and people bought them for hundreds of dollars. And nowadays that is starting to cause a lot of strain on consumers who, yeah, like if you really, really like that 50th tier of Call of Duty, like deluxe edition, you want all the physical goodies or whatever, it's one of those like you get this choice. You either just get the game, or you get the game and 8 billion other things, but you spend enough to buy a house. So, yeah, that's another thing that you kind of need to watch out for when it comes to monetization in games. If you're going to have a deluxe edition, that's fine. But make it something that's worthwhile and gives, like, the value that you're charging for it, not some cheap plastic statue that is poorly painted or falling apart.
Hey, you leave my Halo 3 helmet alone.
Wasn't that supposed to be like wearable, but then nobody could wear it?
Yeah, so now it's just a little cover to hold the thing that holds the game, but then if your head's small enough, you can mod it so that way you can wear it.
Yeah. And the less said about Fallout 76, the better. So now we're gonna hop over to the world of MMOs. For those of you that don't play MMOs, that it stands for massively multiplayer online games. Most of them are also RPGs. Some of them don't quite fall under that, but they are still MMOs. And the most famous one out there, and one of the most egregiously monetized ones right now, is World of Warcraft. Now, I'm sure some of the WoW heads that I know are... One is currently chatting. I know he played at least for a little while. I'm not going to name names, but that game has kind of, I don't know if it was the first to start with a subscription model or if it was just the one that popularized it. But there used to be so MMOs obviously very expensive to maintain. But whenever WoW popped out onto the scene, you had to buy the game, but you also had to pay for a subscription, a monthly subscription. And as I remember it, it was basically either the price of or half the price of the game at the time. Now, that's bad enough in and of itself, because all of that's separate. And then Activision happened. And when Activision happened, on top of those types of monetization, they decided they needed a cash shop. All of the microtransactions we were just talking about, as well as making mechanics that are... So MMOs are very infamous for this kind of mechanic and this kind of like monetization. Often you will hear the phrase pay to win. Now, what pay to win means is that you can take your wallet, throw it at the game, and all of a sudden you're the most powerful you can be. This can vary from buying powerful gear and items that help you to like achieve high rank of whatever, to some people would argue, and I would agree with them, but some people are going to argue that the level boost is also pay to win, which means that in order to be competitive in a MMO, you need to also be able to shell out the money for it. Now, there are a lot of people that will argue kind of a devil's advocate, games like Warframe. Yes, you can buy the Warframes outright, but they have a reasonable, and I will stress that, reasonable grind to be able to unlock the stuff that you want from the game. So, say one of my favorite Warframes is Mesa. Say I want to get a new Mesa. I don't have to shell out however much money. All I have to do is spend the time fighting the boss to get it. In other words, playing the game. But that does lead to one of the types of monetizations, like one of these predatory types of monetization that I was talking about earlier, where you take a problem and you create a problem and sell the solution. So say you're playing like a Korean MMO and you get to level 1 after 100 hours of grinding. But in the cash shop, they sell you something that doubles your XP gain, so it only takes 50 hours to get to level 2. That is creating a problem that you are selling a solution. You are purposefully making the game worse for the player so that they will come and spend money. Now, for some of you, you might just go, well, I don't care about that. I'm going to just leave it and go play a different game. But they're not after you. They're after that one guy that'll go, you know what? I like this game enough. I'm going to spend that money so that I don't have to sit here for as long so I can see what's at the end. Because all the cool stuff's in the end game. One of those old sayings for MMO players, you don't get to play the game until you're 100 hours in, or whatever. That's a whole nother topic for another day, but
which we partly covered by our tutorial video / podcast.
We're going to eventually do a dedicated MMO one, because it is a genre that is wholly unique in its applications and uses. But yeah, where was I? Brain cell just completely lost that. Oh yeah.
$1 million, got to get to the end game.
Yeah. So that person that they've caught, they refer to as a whale, both in and out of the studio. People will see the guys that like they flex their wallet rather than flexing the skill and time that they've invested in the game. And these people can easily. I think there was one. I think the biggest spending whale was a Korean MMO, and he spent like in a year. Oh, I'd like to say that they clocked him in at $500,000 USD, and that was him kind of guessing at it. If I remember correctly, like I don't think they actually released the exact figures because the studio didn't want that out there. Now, I will say that, especially, did you have something you wanted to say? I saw that.
Yes. So, while it might be easy to excuse these people as one-off individuals, there is a very specific blend of psychology that basically makes these people easy to take advantage of through the psychological quick manipulation. So, if any of you feel like you can excuse this behavior by, well, companies are being companies, you're essentially advocating for companies to be able to prey upon individuals who have either some kind of condition or predisposition where the perfect blend of shiny lights essentially just gets them to hand over their wallet. You essentially, by allowing stuff like this, advocate for companies to essentially just take advantage of people because at some level they need help.
Yes. And the biggest culprit for that are gacha games. Because on top of like all of the other monetization stuff that they could do, they are essentially just slot machines. So your Genshin Impact, they are hard. They are created specifically to pull at hardwired behaviors in people who are easy to like get easily stuck on gambling addictions. So like people that are predisposition for a gambling addiction, that is the people that they are targeting. And Cold actually brings up a really good thing as well. FOMO, or the fear of missing out. Oh, you need to buy this now or it'll never come back. You need to be here to do this event now or it'll never come back. You need to pay for this or you'll never get it. And even if some people don't necessarily say like they don't even really want it that bad, they still get caught in this like mentality of, oh, I need it or it's gonna be gone. Oh, I need to do this or I won't be able to do it. That's why like having repeating live events for games is better than one-time live events. Or having live events that are repeatable, whereas like they don't happen the day that they happened. It's just something that you can go and do. Because one thing that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to monetization is the cost to your time as well. Because just like money, you don't have an infinite amount of that. And these FOMO, gacha mechanics, gambling mechanics, all of this monetization wants both of those. Games, especially live service and MMO type games, want all of your time and all of your money. The longer they keep you playing, the longer you see things that you might want to buy, the more likely you are to actually buy it. Which is why you will often hear of a specific type of matchmaking in games like, say, Marvel Rivals, which is one of the things that I have gripes with them for. It's called EOMM. I don't remember what the O stands for, but normally that it's engagement-based matchmaking or engagement-driven matchmaking. Moon, do you happen to know what the O stands for EOMM?
I believe it's optimization.
Okay,
but
so
don't quote me on that, because if you do, then it's gonna make me look stupid if I'm wrong.
we're gonna go with the assumption that it is optimization, just because it makes sense for what they're trying to do. So, just to kind of explain that for those who don't know what that is, who don't play the kind of games that use it, basically think of it as you've been playing. So it's that one, and there's skill based, and then there's connection based matchmaking are kind of the primary types. Connection based matchmaking will connect you with people that have a similar like internet connection. Doesn't matter their skill, doesn't matter like anything going on. Skill based matchmaking is exactly what it sounds like. It matches with people of similar skill. Now, EOMM or EBMM, this one is a lot harder to like. It's a bit longer of an explanation. So a lot of people seem to not quite understand it. The idea behind this, and I know that Activision has been trying to use it for a while now. What they want you to do is spend more time playing. So, say you go on a massive losing streak in a game, and you're feeling down and out for it. With Marvel Rivals specifically, in Quick Play, they will put you into a bot lobby that you will absolutely stomp. And now you're riding a high and you want to keep playing, so you start hitting more wins. And then if you hit too many wins, it'll start dropping you down into losses again. There is some argument to be made that some competitive games do that with their competitive side, not just the casual side. That's hard to verify, though.
So I would like to point out that with EOMM, or Engagement Optimization Matchmaking, because I finally Googled what the acronym actually was, it's not necessarily trying to make you lose. It doesn't care if you lose. So essentially, it tracks your behavior as to when you usually stop playing and when people who fit a similar profile to you stop playing. And then it will try to queue up matches that you're more likely to go one more.
Yeah.
So, as a nice little trick, if you don't like losing, just stop playing for the day if you keep losing, because if you do keep playing, the game learns that you're okay with losing.
There is a version of matchmaking like that the
Skill-based matchmaking will try to aim you for a predictive 50-50 win rate for whatever match you're in, with a little bit of wiggle room based off like available players currently looking for a match.
So the most insidious version of EOMM is from, surprise, surprise, Activision Blizzard and EA. I believe both of them use it, where they're less inclined for just engagement, but they also want to match you with people that have spent a lot of money and are a much higher skill, so that you see their loadouts and go, well, I want that. And I believe it's Activision that has set a buy their loadout button in the death screen. So, like, when most people are just watching the kill cam, now Activision has a button that you can save their loadout and buy the stuff that they have, so you can play like them. Because, yes, people believe that works that way.
Wow, imagine playing a game and turning into an ad.
Yeah. It's very, very, very predatory, and part of the reason I don't play Call of Duty games anymore. That and all of the AI stuff, but that's also not for this topic. So, with all of that we've said, we've kind of like made it sound pretty bad for a lot of this monetization. Is all monetization in games bad? No. How do you tell what is good monetization? What you got, Moon?
I was about to make a joke and say that if technology isn't property and property is theft, then any monetization is bad monetization. Or you can't monetize a game. It's not property. Therefore, it's not stealing. As a joke.
Legally, that is a joke. But anyways, what does good monetization look like? When it comes to the price of games, if the game feels like it is worth the value they are charging it, or even if it is worth more than the value they are charging for it, then that is a good, well-priced game. A good example I am going to use for that is Elden Ring. I believe Elden Ring came out at $60, $60, $70 for a fully finished and ready-to-go game. And then, if I remember correctly, the DLC was $50, which was
basically another game.
Yeah, it honestly, if I had to hazard a guess, there might even be a bit more content in their DLC afterwards. So and that's not even to say that there isn't a lot of value in the game itself. I'm just pointing out, both of them, enormous value for the player. And they also didn't charge anything extra. They asked you, please pay this up front, and the game is yours. And then that's all you had to do. That is good value. For a free-to-play game, I already mentioned before, I believe Marvel Rivals Battle Pass is worth the value. Now, as somebody else, you may not play Marvel Rivals, so it may have zero value to you. You may play... I can't even think of another game off the top of my head that's got a similar... We'll use Fortnite. You may play Fortnite. You may decide that one's worth of value.
I was about to say Fortnite.
Those two battle passes support the devs who created the game. So that is, again, perfectly alright value if that is what you want to give back to the game that you enjoy, to help support it, to make sure that it continues going. Now, if the value that you are getting from a game outweighs the amount that you are giving it, that is bad monetization. Look up Diablo Immoral, or yes, I said immoral for a reason, because the monetization on that game is so hellishly egregious, pun intended, that it's not even, I can't even begin. We need multiple hours to go over just how bad it is.
Although, funnily enough, someone threw their wallet at it so hard that the game broke and they couldn't play with anyone.
Yeah. So, yeah. If a game takes more than it gives you, then it's not worth your money. If the game is broken, if the game is just a shadow of a game, the monetization is not worth it. If you don't play the game, don't pay for it. But don't jump on every game that goes, oh, this is the amount that it costs. Make sure that you feel like you get the value that you want out of it before you decide, Is it worth paying for? Is it worth the deluxe edition? Is it worth the DLC? And then work from there. You had something to say, Moon?
I would like to give everyone some secrets for when it comes to games. Firstly, if you buy a game on Steam and you don't love it in the first hour, return it.
Exactly.
If you are playing a free game and you haven't dumped 40 hours into it playing it without buying anything, you probably shouldn't buy anything for it.
And to kind of add on to that, just know like what return policies you have for games other than Steam. Because I know PlayStation, theirs is a bit strict. Nintendo players, you're just kind of fucked. Like, remember, your wallet. There are a lot of the big AAA studios. They see you as an obstacle to your money, but it is still your money. So you decide what you vote with your wallet. Decide what you value in a game and what makes sense for you to pay for, and work from there. And for the love of God, don't play games like Genshin Impact if you have issues with gambling. But I think that is just about. Do you have anything you want to bring up, Moon?
Another general rule of thumb for the casual gamers out there who like fun games: if a game asks you to buy something, or if you see a banner ad anywhere near a button that you press, just uninstall it. That game is essentially just trying to get you to click the little button, which might seem like, maliciously innocent enough. Like, oh yeah, of course I want you to buy it. Except they're specifically lining it up. And then that essentially gives you a good tip off that there's other psychological tricks going on there that you might not immediately notice.
Also, specifically on the topic of phone games, if you have to pay for energy or wait multiple hours to play the game, even if it's like, building a building for 8 hours and then they're like, but you could do it for quicker if you pay us. You don't want to play those either, honestly. They are also very predatorily monetized, and they are out for your wallet, not to give you something fun to do. They are also there for your time because they can show you a bunch of ads to earn ad revenue, even if you don't pay. So they're not there to give you a fun game. They're there to make off with your wallet like a bandit. But if Moon has nothing else that she would like to bring up, then I also have nothing else, and I think we will go ahead and close out the podcast for tonight.
We can always see if we can take any questions from the live chat.
Is live chat still live?
Is live chat still live? Are you dead in there? Can someone check on live chat?
Apparently it disconnected at one point and then reconnected.
Ripple live chat. Time of death. I don't know because I wasn't really looking at it.
I was glancing at it, and then when I looked over to check and see if we had any questions or comments, it said it had successfully connected. So
sorry, live chat. I will go to your funeral.
Cold says nobody here but us chickens. So I think that.
Well, do the chickens have anything that they would like to discuss regarding monetization?
It is looking like the answer is either too far behind at the moment or no. One problem with live streaming, I can't tell what the delay is because it changes on YouTube all of the time.
Well, sometimes that's just how it goes.
Well, I'm not seeing any more messages on the live chat, so we're going to go ahead and end it here. For those of you that are interested, we will be doing the potentially doing Lost Memories tomorrow. We'll see who actually makes it. And then, of course, Sunday is the continuation of the final boss for Heart of Darkness. So I think this time they will actually get to slap the boss instead of standing in a corner slap boxing a bunch of randoms. So we'll see how that goes when the boss starts finally pulling out the big guns. And then, of course, Sunday we also do the usual evening stream. We may or may not. It depends on what's going on with the faction, because we will be signing up for a tournament for our Twitch streams. We're going to see how that's going before I make any final decisions on that. But we will be streaming on Twitch on Sunday as well. And other than that, everybody have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. And of course, don't forget to drink water.
Bye.